When Rudy Wetzel walked away from Matt's off-road recovery in early 2022, fans erupted with speculation. Comment sections overflowed with theories about family drama and bitter disputes. Did father and son have a massive falling out? Was Rudy forced to leave? The rumors spread like wildfire across social media, with everyone convinced there had to be some dark secret behind the departure. But the truth behind Rudy's exit is far more surprising than any manufactured controversy, and it reveals a side of the story that most viewers never considered. Rudy Wetzel wasn't just another crew member on Matt's off-road recovery. This was blood, this was family, and the channel's success was built on their partnership. Rudy jumped into the recovery business right around the time he got his driver's license, spending his teenage years learning the brutal realities of southern Utah's unforgiving terrain. While other kids his age were worried about prom dates and college applications, Rudy was mastering winch techniques and figuring out how to extract vehicles from situations that seemed physically impossible. The bond between father and son became the channel's secret weapon. Together, they engineered one of the most iconic vehicles in off-road recovery history, the MORVR. Taking a Chevy Corvair and transforming it into a legitimate recovery rig wasn't just mechanically impressive, it was pure creative genius. That build captured everything the channel represented: innovation, determination, and a willingness to try ideas that seemed absolutely insane on paper. As Matt's off-road recovery exploded in popularity, Rudy became a recognizable face to millions of subscribers worldwide. Week after week, viewers tuned in to watch the team tackle rescues that would make professional tow companies turn around and head home. Rudy wasn't just along for the ride, he was integral to the operation's success. His youth brought fresh energy to the videos, and his natural chemistry with his father made the content feel authentic rather than scripted. But behind the scenes, something was shifting. The very success that elevated the channel was also creating an invisible cage, and Rudy was starting to realize that the path his father had built, no matter how successful, might not be the path he wanted to walk forever. Early 2022 brought an announcement that nobody saw coming. Rudy revealed he was leaving Matt's off-road recovery to pursue his own project. The news hit the community like an earthquake. Within hours, the speculation machine kicked into overdrive, and the theories got wild fast. Fans combed through old videos looking for signs of tension. Did Matt say something in that episode? Did Rudy look angry in this recovery? Every interaction was suddenly re-examined through the lens of conflict. The comment sections became a battleground of competing theories. Some viewers were convinced Matt had been pushing his son too hard, forcing impossible deadlines and creating a toxic work environment. Others suspected financial disputes, claiming Rudy wasn't getting his fair share of the channel's revenue. A vocal minority even suggested that other crew members had turned Matt against his own son, creating family drama worthy of a reality TV show. The more sensational the theory, the faster it spread across social media platforms. Reddit threads exploded with amateur detectives picking apart every frame of recent uploads. YouTube drama channels jumped on the story, creating speculation videos that racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Everyone wanted to be the one who figured out the real reason behind the split. The narrative wrote itself in people's minds. This had to be a dramatic falling out, a bitter family feud that destroyed years of collaboration. But here's what nobody considered. What if there was no drama at all? What if the real story was actually about growth, maturity, and someone brave enough to chase what truly made them happy? The truth was sitting right there in plain sight, but everyone was too busy looking for scandal to see it. And when Rudy finally explained his reasoning, it challenged everything people assumed about ambition, family, and success. Rudy sat down with decent garage and dropped the truth bomb that deflated every conspiracy theory instantly. Vehicle recovery wasn't his passion. Let that sink in for a moment. Here was a young man who'd spent years becoming exceptional at off-road rescue, who'd helped build one of YouTube's most successful automotive channels, and he was walking away because his heart wasn't in it. The revelation wasn't bitter or resentful. It was honest in a way that most people never allow themselves to be. What actually drove Rudy was fabrication. The hours spent in the shop cutting metal, welding custom parts, and transforming raw materials into functional art. That's where he found his flow state. Every recovery video might have showcased dramatic rescues, but for Rudy, the real magic happened during the build segments. Those moments when the camera focused on custom brackets being fabricated or suspension components being modified, that's when Rudy came alive. Unfortunately, those segments were brief interruptions in content focused on towing and recovery. The filming schedule became a prison of its own making. Matt's channel demanded consistency, which meant deadlines, structure, and content that fit the channel's established identity. Rudy couldn't explore experimental builds that might fail. He couldn't spend 3 months perfecting a single custom component just to see if it worked. Every project needed to serve the channel's narrative, and that meant Rudy's personal creative vision kept getting pushed aside. He wasn't telling his own story, he was playing a supporting role in someone else's. The breaking point wasn't dramatic. There was no blow-up argument or final straw moment. Instead, Rudy simply realized he was building someone else's dream rather than his own. And that realization, quiet as it was, changed everything about how he viewed his future in the automotive world. What most fans never knew was that Rudy's exit wasn't impulsive, it was calculated. Long before he announced his departure from Matt's channel, Rudy had been laying groundwork for his next chapter. He'd taken a position with Underground Storage Solutions, a company specializing in manufacturing underground safes. On the surface, it seemed like just another welding gig, but it was actually a masterclass in strategic planning. Every day spent welding safes was another day spent refining his fabrication techniques, building skills that would become the foundation of his own business. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected place. Rudy's boss at Underground Storage Solutions wasn't just an employer. He was a longtime friend who understood Rudy's bigger ambitions. When Rudy explained his vision for starting his own custom fabrication channel, his boss made an offer that changed everything: access to shop space and tools for personal projects. This wasn't charity, it was investment in someone's potential. Suddenly, Rudy had a professional-grade workspace where he could experiment, fail, and build without the pressure of cameras documenting every moment. This setup gave Rudy something invaluable: freedom. He could work on his day job welding safes, then transition seamlessly to his passion projects without worrying about rent, equipment costs, or the overhead that crushes most startup businesses. The shop became his laboratory, a place where he could test wild ideas and push his fabrication skills to their limits. Want to see if a Mini Cooper could become a legitimate rock crawler? Now he had the space and tools to find out. Curious about building a drift truck on air suspension? Time to make it happen. By the time Rudy announced his departure from Matt's Offroad Recovery, he wasn't jumping into uncertainty. He was stepping into a carefully constructed launchpad, ready to build something entirely his own. Rudy's adventure and design launched in 2022, and from day one, it was clear this wasn't Matt's Offroad Recovery Part 2. Rudy represented everything Rudy couldn't explore under his father's channel: pure, unfiltered creative fabrication without the constraints of recovery-focused content. The shop became a showcase for automotive diversity that would make any gearhead's heart race. Walk through the Rudy workspace and you'd encounter an eclectic collection that defied easy categorization. Hot rods with mirror-finish paint jobs, lowriders that could dance on hydraulics, custom buggies engineered for desert punishment, and race vehicles built to endure abuse that would destroy factory machines. The Rudycon became Rudy's signature build and a direct callback to his roots. This brown Jeep XJ came from the same generation as Matt's famous Banana, creating an intentional parallel that honored his past while establishing his independence. But Rudy wasn't content with just one project. He pushed boundaries with builds that raised eyebrows across the automotive community. A 2002 Mini Cooper transformed into a legitimate rock crawler? That's not supposed to work, but Rudy made it happen. A 1973 Chevy C10 drift car sitting on air suspension? The combination sounds absurd until you see it actually functioning. Each build told Rudy's story in ways that recovery videos never could. These weren't projects driven by necessity or client demands, they were pure creative expression. Rudy could spend months perfecting a single aspect of a build just because it interested him. He could experiment with unconventional combinations that might fail spectacularly. The freedom to follow curiosity wherever it led created content that felt genuinely authentic rather than algorithmically optimized. Raid wasn't trying to compete with Matt's Offroad Recovery. It existed in its own space, serving an audience hungry for fabrication content that prioritized creativity over views. And that authenticity resonated in ways nobody predicted. In less than 3 years, Rudy's adventure and design accumulated over 282,000 subscribers. For context, most channels take 5 to 7 years to hit those numbers if they ever reach them at all. Rudy's growth wasn't fueled by drama, clickbait, or manufactured controversy. It came from genuine passion that viewers could feel through their screens. Every video showcased someone doing exactly what they loved, and audiences responded by showing up consistently. The subscriber count tells only part of the story. Rayed's community became intensely engaged, with comment sections filled with technical discussions, build suggestions, and genuine enthusiasm for each project's progress. These weren't casual viewers clicking through recommended videos. They were dedicated fans invested in Rudy's journey. The channel attracted fabricators, weekend warriors, and automotive enthusiasts who appreciated content that respected their intelligence rather than dumbing things down for mass appeal. Rudy's relationship with Matt's channel evolved into something even more valuable than his previous role. He still appeared in his father's videos occasionally, and those collaborations felt special rather than obligatory. Matt would show up at the rad shop to check out builds, and Rudy would lend expertise when Matt tackled particularly complex fabrication challenges. These crossovers benefited both channels while proving that professional boundaries can actually strengthen family bonds. The collaboration model they developed became a blueprint for healthy family business dynamics. They showed that you can separate professionally without creating personal distance, that supporting each other's independence actually deepens relationships rather than fracturing them. Rudy gained over 250,000 subscribers by being authentically himself. Matt maintained his channel's success while demonstrating what real parental support looks like. Both men won because neither tried to hold the other back, and their audience got to witness a family handling major life transitions with grace, maturity, and genuine love. So what's the real lesson buried in Rudy Wetzel's story? Sometimes the most shocking truth is that there's no scandal whatsoever. Rudy left Matt's off-road recovery because he outgrew it, not because he resented it. He wanted to build his own legacy rather than remain a supporting character in someone else's narrative, even when that someone was his father. The courage it took to have that conversation, to walk away from guaranteed success toward uncertain independence, reveals more character than any dramatic blow-up ever could. The internet desperately wanted drama because drama gets clicks, generates engagement, and feeds the algorithm. A wholesome story about a son pursuing his passion with his father's blessing doesn't trigger the same dopamine rush as imagined betrayal and family warfare. But maybe that's exactly why Rudy's story matters more than the manufactured controversies that dominate social media. Real life is usually more nuanced than the simplified narratives we create in comment sections. Rudy proved that you can chase your dreams without burning bridges. Matt proved that real love means releasing people to become who they're meant to be, even when it means they're walking away from what you built. Together they demonstrated that maturity isn't about avoiding difficult conversations. It's about having them with honesty, respect, and genuine care for each other's happiness. The next time you see someone leave a successful situation to pursue something uncertain, maybe pause before assuming there's drama behind the decision. Sometimes people leave because they're growing, not because they're running away. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from good to chase great. And sometimes the most powerful support you can offer someone you love is the freedom to figure out who they are without you. That's the real story behind Rudy leaving Matt's off-road recovery, and it's better than any manufactured drama could ever be.